They weren't mine anymore. Not my daughter's voice when she called, not my son's eyes when he looked through me instead of at me. And the worst part wasn't the distance. It was that my own sister had been building it, brick by brick, email by email, for 7 years. My granddaughter found them by accident. Sophie had been using her grandmother Patricia's laptop for a school project when the screen froze. In trying to fix it, she opened the email application. That's when she saw my name, over and over, subject lines that made her stomach turn. She told me later she almost didn't look, almost closed it, and walked away. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the tone, maybe it was the date stretching back years. Maybe it was just that she loved me enough to be afraid. She showed up at my door on a Tuesday evening, pale and shaking, with screenshots on her phone she'd taken before Patricia came home. I made her tea. She couldn't drink it. Instead, she laid her phone on my kitchen table and whispered, "Grandma, I think you need to see these." The first email was from October 2018. Subject line: "She's at it again. Patricia to Richard, my ex-husband. The man who'd left me for his dental hygienist 15 years earlier. The man who was supposed to be neutral, cordial, done. Eleanor called Daniel today asking why he didn't come to Sunday dinner. She's so needy, so desperate. The kids are adults now, but she can't let go. I think we need to remind them they don't owe her constant attention just because she's sacrificed for them." I read it twice, then 3 times. The quotation marks around sacrificed like it was a lie, like the years I worked night shifts while Richard finished his degree were fiction, like staying home when Amanda had pneumonia and losing my promotion was negotiable. Sophie watched me with tears in her eyes. "There's more," she said quietly. There were 212 emails. I counted them later. 212 messages between Patricia and Richard. Sometimes copying in my children, sometimes just the two of them, strategizing, comparing notes, rewriting history. "Remember when Eleanor wouldn't let the kids go to Disney with us? She said it was too expensive, but really she just wanted control." That wasn't what happened. Richard had quit his job to start a business that failed. We had $17 in checking. I'd said no because I was buying groceries with spare change, but my children didn't remember that. They were 8 and 6. All they remembered was no. Another email. Daniel mentioned his mother is upset he didn't call on her birthday. I reminded him she's always been emotionally manipulative, making everything about her feelings. I'd turned 60 that year. Daniel had sent a text 3 days late. When I'd gently said it hurt, he'd sighed and said I was being dramatic. Now I knew why. The pattern was everywhere. Every conversation I'd had with my children, every hurt feeling, every small disappointment, Patricia had reframed it, poisoned it, and Richard, the man who once promised to love me, had helped her do it. Sophie's voice cracked. "Grandma, there's one more. From last month." I opened it. Patricia to both Daniel and Amanda, CCing Richard. "Your mother called me crying again about how you never visit. I love my sister, but she needs to understand you have your own lives. Maybe it's time to set firmer boundaries. For your own mental health. I'll support whatever you decide." I closed my eyes. Boundaries. That word they'd been using. The reason Amanda had stopped coming for Christmas. The reason Daniel never answered calls anymore. It wasn't them pulling away. It was her pushing them. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with Sophie's phone, scrolling through 7 years of systematic dismantling. Every time I'd reached out, Patricia had recast it as smothering. Every time I'd asked for help, she'd called it burden. Every memory I thought we shared, she'd quietly rewritten until my own children looked at me like a stranger. By morning, my hands were steady. Rage had burned down to something colder, something useful. I called my lawyer. Her name was Diane, and she'd handled my divorce 15 years ago. She remembered me. "Eleanor," she said warmly, "what can I do for you?" "I need to document something," I said. "And then I need advice on what I can do about it." We met that afternoon. I brought printouts of every email. Diane read them slowly, her expression shifting from confusion to fury. "This is parental alienation," she said finally. "Technically, since your kids are adults, there's no legal recourse. But Eleanor, this is abuse. Can I show these to my children?" I asked. She hesitated. "You can, but prepare yourself. People don't like being told they've been manipulated. It challenges their agency. They might deny it. They might even blame you more." "I have to try." She nodded. "Then do it carefully. Don't go in angry. Go in with facts." That evening, I texted both Daniel and Amanda. "I need to see you both. Together. It's important." Daniel replied 2 days later, "Mom, we're busy." Amanda didn't reply at all, so I called Daniel at work. He answered with that sigh I'd come to recognize as his "this is inconvenient" voice. "Mom, what is it?" "I found something that involves you and your sister. I need 1 hour. Please." Silence. Then, "Fine, Saturday, noon, my house." When Saturday came, I arrived with a folder and the kind of calm that only comes after you've already grieved. Amanda was there too, arms crossed, standing near the door like she might leave any second. Daniel sat at his dining table, checking his phone. I placed the folder down. "I need you to read these." Amanda frowned. "What is this?" "Emails, between your Aunt Patricia and your father. About me, about you." Daniel looked up sharply. "Dad?" "Read them," I said quietly. "All of them. Then we'll talk." They read in silence. I watched their faces, the confusion, the disbelief, the moment when the pattern clicked. Amanda's hand went to her mouth. Daniel set his phone down. "This is," Amanda started, then stopped. "This can't be real." "It's real," I said. 7 years. Sophie found them on Patricia's laptop. "Sophie knew about this?" Daniel's voice rose. "And you used her to spy?" "She found them by accident," I said evenly. "And she showed me because she loves me, because she's 16 and she could see what you couldn't." Amanda was shaking her head. "Aunt Patricia wouldn't do this." "But she did," I said. "It's right there. Every time you felt guilty for not calling, she was there, telling you I was the problem." Daniel stood up abruptly. "So what? You're saying we're brainwashed? That we don't have our own minds?" "I'm saying you were lied to," I said. "Consistently, by people you trusted. And I'm asking you to consider that maybe, just maybe, I'm not the villain she made me out to be." The silence was heavy. Then Amanda said, very quietly, "She told me you called her crying all the time, that you were falling apart, that we needed to protect ourselves." "I called her once a month," I said, "like I've done for 40 years, to check in, like sisters do." Daniel sat back down. "I need to think about this." "That's fair," I said. "But while you're thinking, ask yourself, when did I become someone you avoid? Was it gradual? Did I change? Or did your perception of me change because someone kept whispering in your ear?" I left the folder with them, walked out without waiting for a response. On the drive home, I called Patricia. She answered on the 3rd ring, cheerful. "Eleanor, how are you?" "I know," I said. A pause. "Know what?" "Everything. Every email," Sophie showed me. The cheerfulness evaporated. "That little brat went through my private computer? Those private emails destroyed my relationship with my children." "I was protecting them," Patricia said, voice sharp now. "From your neediness, your constant demands." "I asked them to dinner once a month," I said. "I called on birthdays. I existed, Patricia. And you couldn't stand it. You always had everything," she hissed. "The husband, the kids, the perfect little life, while I had nothing. You don't get to have them worship you forever, too." There it was, the truth under everything. She was 71 years old and still competing with me, still trying to win something I didn't know we were fighting over. "You're my sister," I said quietly. "I loved you." "Loved?" She caught the past tense. "Loved. I confirmed. Don't contact me again. I hung up before she could respond. That week, Richard called. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. I blocked the number. Then he showed up at my house. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. Eleanor, we need to talk, he said. He looked older, tired, 65, and suddenly showing, every year. No, I said. We don't. I never meant for it to go this far, he said. Patricia, she just kept saying you were making the kids feel guilty, and I thought, maybe she's right. Maybe you were holding on too tight. I made dinner, I said flatly. I called on birthdays. I loved my children loudly. If that's holding too tight, then every mother in America is guilty. I'm sorry, he said. You helped her erase me, I said. Not because you believed it, but because it was easier than telling her no. That's worse than her malice, Richard. That's just pathetic. I closed the door in his face. Daniel came to see me 3 days later, alone. He looked wrecked. I read them all again, he said. I looked at the dates, cross-referenced them with my journals. Mom, she did this after every time we talked. Every single time. I know, I said. I don't know how to fix this, he said. His voice broke. I don't know how to undo 7 years of believing the wrong things about you. You don't undo it, I said. You just stop doing it now. He nodded slowly. Amanda's not ready. She's still processing. But I am. I'm so sorry. I hugged him, felt him shake against my shoulder. My 40-year-old son, crying like he hadn't since he was small. Amanda called 2 weeks later. I talked to Dad, she said. He confirmed it, said Patricia convinced him you were being overbearing, that he thought he was helping. He wasn't, I said. I know. She was quiet a long time. I don't know if I can forgive her. You don't have to, I said. Forgiveness isn't required. Boundaries are. I'm angry at myself, she admitted, for not seeing it. She's been practicing manipulation longer than you've been alive, I said. Don't blame yourself for trusting family. That month, I started therapy. Not because I was broken, but because I wanted to process this without burdening my children more. Dr. Morrison was in her 50s, calm, direct. What you experienced, she said, is called parental alienation through third-party manipulation. It's insidious because the victim, you, has no idea it's happening. And the targets, your children, think they're making independent choices. How do I move forward? I asked. You already are, she said. You documented it, confronted it, set boundaries. Now you heal. And you let your children heal at their own pace. Daniel started coming to Sunday dinners again. Amanda sent texts, careful ones, like she was relearning who I was. Sophie never left. She moved in with me that summer when her parents, Patricia's neighbors, made it clear they sided with their friend Patricia. I sold my house in October, moved to a smaller town 2 hours away, kept my phone number but changed my address to unlisted. Patricia tried to reach me through mutual friends. I told them all the same thing. I'm not interested in reconciliation. Richard sent a letter. I returned it unopened. My new apartment overlooked a lake, small, quiet, mine. Sophie took the second bedroom for weekends and school breaks. We painted it together, soft yellow, the color of starting over. On Thanksgiving, Daniel and Amanda came to visit. We cooked together, laughed carefully, told stories, not about the past, about now, about who we were becoming. Amanda asked, Do you think you'll ever talk to Aunt Patricia again? No, I said. Some betrayals don't earn second chances. Daniel nodded. We haven't either. She keeps calling, saying we're overreacting. Block her, I said. You don't owe her your pain. After they left, Sophie and I sat on the small balcony with blankets and tea. Do you miss the old house? She asked. No, I said. I miss who I thought my sister was. But the house? That was just a place where I waited to be seen. She leaned against me. I see you, Grandma. I know, sweetheart. That's why we're here. By December, I joined a book club. Made friends who didn't know Patricia, didn't know Richard, didn't know the old version of me. They just knew Eleanor, the woman who laughed easy and spoke her mind and didn't apologize for taking up space. I started volunteering at the library, shelving books, helping with readings. Simple work. The kind that fills time without demanding your history. On my 68th birthday, Daniel, Amanda, and Sophie surprised me with a cake. We ate it at my tiny kitchen table, 4 of us squeezed in, and it felt more like family than any holiday at the old house ever had. Amanda said, "I'm glad you moved. This place feels like you." "It is me," I said. Finally, that night, after they'd gone, I found a card Sophie had left on my nightstand. Inside, she'd written, "Thank you for teaching me that love isn't letting people hurt you. It's knowing when to walk away so you can love yourself." I kept that card in my nightstand drawer, next to the folder of emails I'd never look at again but couldn't quite throw away. Evidence, proof, a reminder that I hadn't imagined it, that I had been erased, and that I'd erased myself back into visibility. Patricia died 2 years later. Heart attack. Quick, they said. Painless. Daniel called to tell me, "Do you want to go to the funeral?" he asked. "No," I said, "but you should, if you need to." He went. Amanda went. I stayed home and worked in my garden, the one I'd planted that spring. Tomatoes, basil, flowers whose names I was still learning. When they called afterward, I asked, "How was it?" "Sad," Amanda said. "A lot of people. No one mentioned us not being there." "Good," I said. "She left you something in her will," Daniel added. "Her house," I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Of course she did. One last manipulation. What will you do?" "Refuse it," I said. "Donate it. Sell it and give the money away. She doesn't get to buy forgiveness from beyond the grave." In the end, I had it sold, gave half to a women's shelter and half to Sophie's college fund. Patricia's legacy became something useful, something that helped instead of hurt. 3 years after the emails, I was 69 and more myself than I'd ever been. I lived small, loved carefully, trusted slowly. My children visited regularly, not out of obligation, but because they wanted to. Sophie graduated high school and chose a college nearby. She said it was for the program, but I knew better. One evening, we sat on the balcony watching the sunset. She asked, "Do you ever regret cutting Aunt Patricia out?" "No," I said. "I regret not seeing it sooner. But cutting her out? That saved my life. Even though it meant losing time with Daniel and Amanda?" "I didn't lose time," I said. "It was stolen. There's a difference, and now I have it back. That's what matters." She nodded. "I want to be like you when I'm older." "No," I said gently. "Be better. Learn from my mistakes. Don't wait 7 years to question why the people who should love you make you feel small." We sat in comfortable silence, the kind that only exists between people who've survived something together. Below us, the lake reflected the last light, and somewhere in that reflection, I saw the woman I'd become, not the mother I'd tried to be, not the sister I'd failed to recognize, just Eleanor, whole, free, finally seen. If this story found you at the right moment, if you've ever felt erased by the people closest to you, share it. Sometimes the cruelest betrayals come from those who smile while they stab. It's never too late to choose yourself.